everybody. Thanks for coming. Looks like the gang's all here. And we're going to talk to Mr. Rogers, and we're going to have what I thought was, this was Cassie's idea. I thought it was a great idea to have a fundraiser through YouTube for PBS. So I thought it was a great idea. I even, in the description, I put a video, if you haven't seen it, a video of him, Mr. Rogers, Fred Rogers, asking for funding for his show on local television from the Senate Subcommittee. And it's really fascinating. It really, really is. And it also shows the power of his energy, because it gets through this kind of crusty old Senate guy, and it's really neat to watch. So I put that in the description if you haven't seen it. Yeah, so let me do the little intro here. And thank you so much. And the way you donate is just to hit the donate button at the bottom of the screen. Gina's checking out so hopefully you'll get a little thank you from us and from Gina for the donation. And yeah, I just thought that was a good idea. I did have to look up to see, because I heard they're going to, and basically what they're going to do is they have to shut down some of their affiliates. And sadly, a lot of them are in like rural areas. I'm like, the rural areas are really getting hit hard because they're getting hit with hospital closures and now this, so it's not good. But they are keeping a lot of their stuff going through private donations. So that's why we're doing it. Okay. I just wrote out a little intro in case people don't know who we're going to be talking to tonight. Fred Rogers, known as Mr. Rogers, was born March 20th, 1928, and passed away February 2003 at the age of 74. His college degree was in theology, and he studied to be a Presbyterian minister. He's a composer and musician, and ultimately found his calling to be a beloved television personality who created and hosted the children's show Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood from 1968, a great year, the year I was born, to 2001. Rogers was a pioneer in children's media who used his talents to educate and inspire children, teaching them to feel good about themselves and learning. All right, so what would we like to ask? And first, let me tell you what I always kind of like to, I was even thinking about trying to use AI to make pictures of what people look like, because I try to describe it, but I think it would be fun to see what they actually look like. I'm always interested in the ages they choose, what they choose to wear, because I know it's all deliberate. They're doing it for a reason, you know. Freddie Mercury did not show up in a smoking jacket for nothing. It's to be who he was, right? Okay. So he has on he's dressed like Mr. Rogers. He has got his red cardigan on and kind of, it looks like black pants, and he's in like his set. He's sitting on the kind of where the stairs would be. He's sitting there, and it's like he walked in the door when I went to see like what does he look like. He walked in the door in his set and sat down, and his energy makes me want to cry. Actually, he's very powerful. He is so loving. I mean, I wish I could bottle what I'm feeling right now, but I'm just feeling the most love. I'm almost a little bit speechless. So, and actually a very gentle energy. It reminds me a little bit of Jimmy Carter, but it has a kind of just a very powerful love energy, I would just say. He seems very, very happy to be here. He's not saying anything. I think he's just waiting for us to begin. But he's got a big smile, and he's in his set, and he's dressed like Mr. Rogers, and he's ready to go. All right, so I think we're ready for the first question, Dina. Mr. Rogers, thank you for your work in television. Your kindness always shined through. How did your childhood shape Mr. Rogers' neighborhood? You are missed. He's saying, I always knew I wanted to be of service. I wanted to be of help, and have always loved little children. I feel like he was, because I see him as like a young kid, like working in like a soup kitchen and working in like, I think he, at an early age, what he's trying to show is that he had an awareness of children that suffered, or children that had a hard time. He's saying his mother was a huge influence on him and was such a good teacher, and a wonderful, like, constant loving presence in his life. So it kind of feels like the what he was exposed to as a kid, and also it sounds like his mother was a huge, but he always sort of had a yearning to kind of be of service and of help, and always wanted to sort of help little children and be in that, work in that area. Yeah. What does Mr. Rogers think of the children's shows today? And he's saying, like, there's some good examples of television that's perfect for children. He's saying that there's a lot, though, that he wishes things were like slower paced and quieter, and yes, slower. He's like, there needs to be a calmness and a slowness to children's programming, and that he feels like there's far too much sort of, it's too loud, and it's too, there's like, can be kind of like people being unkind to each other, and I feel like it's like in cartoons and things like that. But I feel like he's saying bombardment. You're being bombarded with so much technology now. It's coming from so many directions. It's not good for them. He's saying it's not good for them. He might even be one of those people that advocates for, like, kids should not be on social media, because I have a feeling that it's like it's coming from all angles. He also says that the selling to children is out of control, making them, young consumers, buy stuff, get stuff, you need stuff, because he's saying that even like little kids can be competitive with each other about what they have and what they don't have. And he said it's setting up he doesn't like the competition it sets up between children. He wants to see more support for each other, and more like kindness and gentleness, things like that coming from what they see, what they get. The world needs another Mr. Rogers. It's really true. It really does. I'm looking forward to this. I met Mr. Rogers when I was in college. He was just just as wonderful in person as he was on TV. Oh, thank you, Laura. Mr. Rogers, if we survive this, can we get CPB back in business? What is CPB? What is that? Someone can write in the chat maybe what CPB is. CPB back in business. CPB. PBS. PBS? Is that what it is? PBS? Corporation for Public. Okay, for Public Broadcasting. Got it. If we survive this, can we get back in? He's like, it's always been teetering on an edge. It's always been, he's like, it's no different. He's like, don't get down, disheartened or don't feel bad. It's always been one of those things that's just been like teetering on this edge of having enough funding or not having enough funding. So he said, I am very, very optimistic it will survive. Does Fred have any messages for us? Any advice? He's saying the world's in a difficult place right now, but there have always been, like, I think he's saying precarious times in all of history. He's saying even in the time that he was on, that there were things like the Vietnam War. They were seeing things like on television they had never seen before, and kids were seeing this. So there have always been these really hard and difficult times. This is a unique time, and he's saying that there's such a need right now for kindness, for love, for help. And he's saying to, instead of seeing all of these things as these are just, instead of seeing all the horrible things, see them as you're faced personally with things in your own family or neighborhood or your own state. See them as opportunities to help, to give, to serve, to show people the way. He's saying there's a lot of people that are really suffering from fear and from loneliness. And he's saying when people get stuck in these things, especially for long periods of time, that they can they're not really them. They're not really the best of themselves. They kind of fall into being not very good, not very nice versions of themselves. But he's saying it's a real issue. It's a real problem. So, and he's even saying if you can try to see, almost like change your perspective and try to see what's really going on. When you see someone who is lashing out in anger, know that behind that can be a lot of anxiety and fear and worry and heartache and loneliness, being alone. So he's saying, so looking for those opportunities where we might be able to lift people up in some way, or lift the situation up in some way, at the same time sort of shifting our perspective. And it's almost like trying to see what may be behind this action or that action. There's something else going on. He's saying even your, and he's like, this may be asking too much, but he said even the person who is leading the nation right now is one of the most unhappy, sad, like miserable figures. That he's saying in that way, it's really so hard to watch, but he said, but no, you have to know though that right now there are a lot of spirits, angels, guides, loved ones, it's kind of like all hands on deck. Everybody's helping. They're really, really trying to shift the earth to higher ground, or shift the vibration, I guess, to higher ground. We do have he's saying unlike anything we've ever seen before on the earth. We have so much help right now. And he's saying, call out to us. We're there. We're there. Yeah. Hi, neighbor. Here's my question. Did you know how much of an impact that you and your show would have on us, and that if you would that you would last as long as it has? And I love you very much. How sweet. Celestial Harvest. He just said, I love you too. No. And he said, it really was like a labor of love. And he said it for many years, he's saying, I felt like we were always begging for money, because every year the prices would go up and things would be more expensive. And he's saying from my youngest, from the earliest years of the show, we were having to ask for money. So it keeps you humble. It keeps you very humble to have to constantly keep asking for help. But he's saying that it was good for us to have to do this, because it always renewed our commitment to what we were doing, and it kept us very cognizant of. It kept us very cognizant of being grateful and being humble. So, did you know it lasts this long? He's saying not in a million years did I think it would last as long as it did. And again, he's like, it was always, oh, are we going to make it? Are we going to make it? So, yeah. He always seemed to embody a peaceful energy. Did he have any daily spiritual practices? I prayed. I did a lot of praying. I was a very a faithful person. My roots, I guess, are were in the the church. So I had a lot of faith in prayer. I felt that kindness was my daily practice. I highly recommend it. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel good. And if everybody practiced it, it would be a different world. That's very true. So those are, so I guess those are his daily practices. He's saying prayer and kindness. Were your puppets based on real people, family, and friends, public figures? He's saying, oh yes, they were, but they're also parts of all of us. We all have parts of us that can be a know-it-all or demanding or selfish. It's not something to deny or shy away from. It's being human, and these things can be should be looked at and I want to say delved into or like looked into to make them better and to be better. There's nothing wrong with having feelings and even if they're not the best, it's okay. But we shouldn't ever be ashamed or feel bad about the parts of us that we'd like to improve or be better. All of the character or all the characters were part of the family, and they all had goodness in them. And even if they misbehaved or they behaved badly, they always could see that it was better to not behave that way. There was always a better way. But so they were a mixture of the different parts in all of us, and some were based in maybe he's saying like maybe an angry friend or relative or boss or something, but they're all really parts of us. What does Mr. Rogers think of Tom Hanks' portrayal of him in the movie A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood and the movie overall? He's saying, I enjoyed it. I liked it. I thought he did a wonderful job. He's saying there were things I think were like he's kind of like thrown in to spice it up. But he's saying like I don't blame him. You know, you can't. I don't know if my life would have been, you know, would have been like that interesting. like watching him go home and eat dinner and stuff. So the regular things, it may not have been that interesting. So I don't blame them for that. But I appreciate it. I think that it was a really beautiful gesture. Are you working on a particular cause or idea now? I'm very, I'm still very, okay, I'm going to deviate from because I can't get his words. I feel like he's talking about like violence and gun violence, that's been very, he's been very, tried to help in this, it's very concerning to him. It's something he's very, very concerned about, all of the daily violence and the fact that violence is hurting so many children. This gun violence in particular is hurting so many children. He's saying that he's often a greeter. He greets children that are affected by gun violence, and even people that are affected because he's a familiar face and kind of a soft, like loving presence. He's even bringing up like school shootings and saying like he helps to greet the children, bring them over, because he's even showing like young kids when if they're affected and something like that. That is so interesting because it is like this. It's like children that were, in school at the time, right? It's so. It is something that he'd want to be part of, trying to help and trying to be the helper, right? In that situation, that famous quote that he talked about, that is so interesting. I'm just putting together my own, because I some of the things that he's showing, but that is a major concern for him and something that he's involved with in trying to help to sort of help them when they get to the other side, and help them to adjust there and be with them, and then at the same time trying to help or affect change here. Rob, it seems like many of the people in power are detached from the ability for self-reflection and even shame. Why does Mr. Rogers think this is so? He likes that question, Rob. He's saying it takes a brave person to admit fault. It takes bravery to look at oneself and say, yes, I need to change this. Unfortunately, when one's self-worth, self-esteem is so like thin, I think he's like, I almost want to say brittle, but I think it's like thin, not strong, basically not strong, that things like admitting fault or feeling ashamed or apologizing or can almost be too much to bear. It's like they don't have there's nothing there to draw it from, to draw that courage from, because they don't have that kind of self-esteem or self-worth, or because he's saying that it's a facade, they're not, they might be, bombastic or loud or, say outrageous things, but that does not equate being self-assured and having real self-confidence and having real self-worth. He just said they weren't nurtured as children. That's what he's saying. They were not nurtured as children. Yeah. Mr. Rogers, I like a million, grew up watching you. Do you still watch over the children on the other side? He says, oh, yes. And he says that people there are people that have a particularly difficult passing, like a violent passing or something like that, and he knows that they know him or they know his energy, he will come and greet them. So he said, I'm very connected to all of the children that watch me. There's such a responsibility in when you are working with children, especially when you're trying to teach children that are not your children. He's saying then the responsibility is even greater. So it's something that he took very seriously here, but he still feels that responsibility for the children that watched him and watch him. However they may watch him on whatever video or reruns or whatever, that he still takes that responsibility very, very seriously. Does he feel from his vantage point that children are much smarter, smarter than ever, I guess? He's saying children always have a wisdom that adults need to listen to and they need to hear. I think that children were smart way back when, and children are very smart today. They always have a very important perspective, and they are extremely observant of things that we get numb to, or that we get numb to. They point things out that we need to see or to hear. They don't have the adult filters that we put on ourselves later on. So they're always filled with wisdom. Children are. He's saying that the hard thing today is that adults are so distracted. There are so many distractions that there's there can be disconnects because of all the distractions that parents have to deal with. Parents, they need to have more time, they need to be able to, it sounds like what he's getting at is they need to be able to devote more energy and time to their kids. And they're spread very thin. They're spread very, very thin. And so he's hoping that in the coming years and decades that will change. There'll be something in that changes that, because it's not good for children and for families. They need their parents, but their parents need to be with them too. It's good for both of them to get a dose of each other, because they have different kinds of wisdom. Let's do maybe one more, Gina, if that's okay. I feel like I'm losing a little bit. Is Mr. Rogers aware of Miss Rachel and the work she is doing? Miss Rachel. So he says, I am. I feel like he thinks it's wonderful. I feel like, is there something with music that she does? I don't know who she is, but he's saying that he is, and that he does think that the work that she's doing is very important. And he's saying we need all kinds of, I don't know if it's like different educators or different voices chiming in or coming in. Yeah, I'm getting a musical thing though. She sings with kids. Okay, so yeah, I'm getting, oh, hi Pam. That's my sister. So yeah, I'm getting like a musical feel. So I feel like that component is so important for kids, that he feels like that is really, music is so, such a great learning tool. So yeah, thinks it's wonderful. Yeah. Well, thank you, everybody. I really appreciate you guys being here. And I'm going to allow him to go and do the important things he's still doing, apparently. He is no rest for him. Yeah, that's so interesting about gun violence and kids, and it's so interesting. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Gina, so much for for thanking people, and thank you guys for donating, and please keep donating, because that's going to go on for another week. And I think I put our goal as like 3,000, so we can do the best that we can. And we are giving monthly now to PBS as the channel. We always like to add more things in for the channel to give to. So if you're subscribed to this channel, you're doing that as well. All right. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Gina. I will see you guys on Sunday. And yeah, I'll see you guys very soon. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you again.